What's going on, guys? It is time for Redacted. And the music is just going to keep playing because it wants to. It just does what it wants, you know? It has its own feels. Twerk, BoredGamer, how are you guys?
Pretty good.
BoredGamer's muted.
How we doing?
Because he forgot to unmute himself.
Hello!
There we go.
Hey,
There's the
guys.
voice we're all looking to hear for. Hope everybody is doing well. It's been a crazy week in Star Citizen this past little week, with all kinds of PTUs and patches and things. But first, I want to ask BoredGamer, what have you been up to this past week?
So, it's been many a sleepless night for me. I've been really, really tired because I'm trying to get to grips. I know it's obviously on everyone's mind, trying to get to grips with patch 1.3.
Right.
And, I mean, there are a lot of bugs with it that cause crashes, that cause instability, and for anyone that's recording or streaming, that can be quite hellish.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to discover new ways of doing user.cfg stuff. I've been trying to work out all the commands for 1.3 because some of them appear to have changed. Trying to get any form of crash or stability fixes that I can. And yeah, so I'm going to be doing lots more of that later tonight, and hopefully I'll come through with some form of breakthrough eventually. It's also a lot of me just trawling through Reddit and forum posts and bug reports. So anyone that's been bug reporting on that community hub on the issue council, that sort of stuff, I read all the time to see if someone else has found a fix for it. So that's always incredibly helpful for me, and for, like, I'm assuming Twerk and Saurus when we're trying to work out fixes.
That's a really good point. Is it like if you're having the same issues, not only are they saying like, hey, I'm having these issues too, so you know it's not just you, but sometimes they put up like what they did to fix it, so it's even more useful of a tool than just for CIG. It's useful for you as well, which is pretty cool.
I spend about an hour a day now trawling them and going, oh no, that would be a good bug to fix first, because you have an influence over what bugs are fixed. And I think if we're getting involved with an alpha game and it is buggy and we're going, oh, this game's really buggy, if we're not actively trying to promote what bugs we want fixed first, and
then they won't get fixed.
Saying, oh, exactly. But we don't have as much of a right to be annoyed, and I think I've got the right to be annoyed. So I'll also help.
Yeah.
But other than that, to chill out, I've also been playing some Viscera cleanup detail, which these people, Twerk and Saurus, and a little bit of props.
It's to chill out, right?
Someone kicked over my bucket of guts that was on the floor, and I just went mental. I just went absolutely crazy, and yeah. So I do that to chill.
Chill game.
It's such a chill game.
Yeah.
So what about you, Twerk? What have you been up to?
You're clean.
Well, yeah, he's got to make sure everything's clean. I've been playing as much 1.3 as I possibly can. For one, I think they've done a lot of good things with it. While it hasn't been the most stable game in the world, the most stable build in the world, that's okay, because missiles are actually very reasonable. So one thing that bothered us forever is now something that's not as much of an issue as before, right? So I'm pretty happy about that. The overall gameplay, like in terms of smoothness, it's great. I'm pretty much at 60 frames a second almost the entire time that I'm playing, which is nice, and which is not all that normal. You know, that wasn't normal for the last few months, I guess, right? And then I've also been trying a new game, which I think, a lot of you guys have seen other streamers streaming it on Twitch, and that's Rebel Galaxy. And I've enjoyed that quite a bit starting today. It's a little slower than I was comfortable with, and I was really bad at it to start the day playing today, and I was getting really frustrated, but then the viewers in the chat were like, hey, you need to do this, and hey, you need to do that, and then I was like, oh, I get it now.
I saw it very much.
It was getting more comfortable.
Very much as a chill game, but when I said it was a chill game in the channel, people were like, this is hell, there's so much going on, there's stuff flying around.
There is a lot going on.
Yeah.
There is a lot going on. Like, you feel like it's a chill game because you're traveling from one place to another sometimes, but when you're actually in combat, it's pretty friggin' intense. Like, it's really intense. But, I mean, overall, I think I was enjoying it. And I'm
you
looking
got
forward
your
to playing
game
more of
face
it and
going
playing
on
more of
for
the
watching
story.
this video here, and you're like,
Yeah.
you're making sure the Selby Starborn's going down.
I was taking him out.
Taking him out.
I was gonna take him out. But yeah, it was
And let's not
it was definitely a bit of a learning curve.
let's not forget. I have something here. I'm actually going to turn the volume on for this one.
Yes. So I clicked something in my channel. Somebody was very clever, and they put a link in the chat that ended in .jpeg.
All right,
So
we're-
like with better Twitch TV, do you want me to like give the prelude, or you wanna just play it?
Let's just play it. So I have it here. We're gonna play it. Here we go. October twerk. I guess. If it's gonna, it might not load. It looks like it's buffering.
Good.
We'll see.
I
We'll
think
see
I
if
might
can,
be okay with that.
We'll see if I can fix it here.
No, it's all right.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I like Gladiator's just not enough to do. I know, and then
Got it.
I like Gladiator's just not
No.
enough to do.
Got him.
All right. So we'll bring this up here. And I'm sure you guys will hear it. Let me just turn this up for you guys. If you're prone to loud noises and screams, just beware. Just a heads up.
No, and then when they bring
Yeah, it
in
might be a
kind of
little bit
that stuff,
louder.
there's more stuff to do, right?
You know?
So then it might kind of bring that that back.
I'm so nervous.
You son of a bitch!
It's so amazing. Oh my god, it's so amazing. All right. All right, that was amazing. Your face went instant red. Then you're like, ah. I'm just
I
so
was
sad.
so scared. I was legitimately scared by it too. Like, I'm not kidding. I was scared.
I like the fact you didn't know what to do. You just screamed directly sideways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just
You didn't
like,
have time to talk your face.
you didn't have time to do anything. You were just
I was so
and
scared.
the sound that came out of your voice. Oh man. The highlight of the week for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There was a GIF made of a tomato coming at me and then me making that sound, and it was
Feels tomato man.
it was some good stuff.
Feels
Tomato
tomato.
Man.
Yep.
Feels Tomato Man is the thing now. So some things happened this week.
Some things definitely happened. With myself, I had a pretty big week myself. Played a lot of Star Citizen 1.3. Played a little bit of some other games and stuff, and the reason that is because on all of my stuff just wants to buffer forever. There we go. Because I was doing the Extra Life charity stream, so
Yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah,
You're such a legend.
it was pretty awesome. So I definitely have to do some shout outs here to Clifford aka Miku, to Superfriend BFG, Descendant Studios rather, and Cloud Imperium Games, all for providing some sort of giveaways for
Which is
that.
awesome.
We did really awesome. We broke over 3K, which is really cool.
Almost hit 4K.
Over
dude.
almost 4,000.
almost
Yeah, 3,800.
Yeah, it was
Just
it was
pretty
pretty crazy. But it was
You
a
held
really
up
fun
really
time.
well.
It was a really fun time. Well, I mean, I don't really
He
sleep.
didn't. He was flagging so hard and went, I don't think I can do it. And then Disco Lando jumped in the channel.
Yeah,
And went, if you get to 3,000 or 3,500, was it?
yeah.
We'll give you an Endeavour to
Or
give
no,
away.
no. It was at 2,500. He was gonna give away an Endeavor, and at 3,100, it was a Carrack. So they gave that. Wingman and those guys jumped in the channel actually a bunch of times this week. Just hang out and talk about Descent.
Descent
and,
Studios
yeah.
donated $100 or something like that, which is
Yeah, they
fucking
donated some money
awesome.
to it, which was awesome, and they gave us a bunch of keys to give away and retweeted and
Descendant-
stuff. And
With Descendant Studios, I just want to say that their way of doing marketing for their game is really lovely for content providers.
Yes.
They actively seek them out, give them keys, and then say, do you want some more keys? And then
Yeah.
they jumped into your channel and donated to help with the stream.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
no,
so
it was-
awesome of them.
it was very awesome of them, and they've been speaking of this past week, we've been playing Descent on and off a little bit. They actually tweeted me and gave me a key so I could try out the game. And then they asked if I wanted more to give away, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm doing this charity stream, and so they gave us another 10 keys, and then they've been popping in and out of chat since then, just like dropping random keys in chat, being like, good luck, whoever gets it first, kind of thing, which is very cool.
Yeah, and that's just a really good example of how developers are kind of using Twitch now, right?
Yeah.
How times are chinging.
Yeah,
and Twitch is really becoming a part of their advertising.
We've been playing a lot of Descent lately. It is pretty fun. It brings me back to when I played. I used to love Descent, and more specifically Descent 2. Growing up on my old 486 or whatever. For some reason, I'm getting.
Yeah.
Okay, can't. I don't know who's trying to message to me, but you can't do that. Yeah, so it's been super fun. Obviously, it's still very much early alpha.
Yeah.
They just had a patch this past week, so it was it's been pretty cool. Maybe we can if the viewers are interested, we could get somebody on from Descendant Studios and have them talk a little bit about the game and stuff like that at some point in the future.
If only there was someone that worked with Star Citizen and Descendant Studios.
That would be... There's a few people. Yeah, there's a few people over there that did both. So
there is indeed.
Yeah, so
that would be interesting.
So that could be something maybe we could look at in the future. But yeah, definitely very awesome guys. Had a bunch of them jump in chat. A bunch of them were playing with us and viewers and stuff. And the thing that's really about this, it's quick, it's right into action, it's short, you die, you respawn. It's like, it's good for those sort of in-between kind of things.
It's arcade deathmatch, and it's very Descent. I mean, they captured the original game exceptionally well. It's very nostalgia fest for me. They've even got... It feels so similar. I mean, if you've played a lot of Descent when you were young, and you play this, they captured it just so well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was really awesome. I'm really enjoying it. The thing is just getting players in there. So, yeah, we'll be playing
and
more.
And they're doing a good job of getting players, right?
Yeah, and we'll be doing more of that as time goes on. Moving forward, we're gonna start doing something starting this week.
Yes.
And moving forward, every episode of Redacted. We are going to start naming an MVP for the forums. And what's going to happen is at the end of the month, of every month, we will take all of the MVPs and we will put them in a raffle for a prize, whether it be for a gift card or a ship or something. We're going to do something like that just to promote creating content on the Redacted forums and getting people to use them. As everything with the email stuff has all been figured out, so !forums if you're watching this on Twitch right now, or just go down below in the description below where it says redacted.tv and head over there and feel free to sign up. It is a lot less painless now to set up and get your account all up and running. But for this month, for this week rather, we have MVP goes to L. Lillian with her unredacted The End of War post that she posted in fan fiction. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, how she had everything like all set up where it was all redacted out, and then there's a spoiler here, and then it tells you exactly what the thing is, and it uses like different fonts and stuff. It was really cool, and it's really well written.
I saw this and didn't click the spoiler button when Saurus was like, have a look at this, this looks really cool. I was like, yeah, it's really great, Saurus. I was like, something's wrong with Saurus. And I was like, oh, there's a spoiler button. And it all became clear.
Yeah.
Then it made sense.
Most definitely. So if you guys haven't checked out that post on the forums, cool little fan fiction on there.
So we might as well do the raffle for this month now.
Well, it is the end of the month.
Yeah. It's the end of the month. Yeah. So, how many entries do we have?
We have one.
Okay. So let's make sure we randomize it to make it fair.
Right.
Yeah.
So
L. Lillian, congratulations.
Yep.
I'm gonna give you a $10 gift card, and it's gonna come from me this time around. So go ahead and send me a Twitch message with your Star Citizen email address and your handle.
Yep.
And
I don't know if
congratulations,
she's
thank you so much
on
for that post.
right now. She might be on.
Yeah, but that's fine. If she
Later
is,
on,
if she
yeah.
isn't, we'll send you a message on the forums as well.
That's right.
With these prizes, though, there'll be Star Citizen-y and anything we can get our hands on. So they might be bigger in the future.
That's right.
Just be aware.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the website as well, going back here, like I said, signups are a lot easier now. We are going to be doing MVPs and other little promotional things happening on the website. I feel like I may have something else coming in the future. So make sure to get your account on there. We have 20 people on right now. We're looking at about 160 members. They are fairly active. It also has our Twitch streams on here, which you can go and check. You can see the live streams, which this one's going to be the podcast. We got a little podception here. We have our Discord, which is heavily used by all of our content creators and everything like that. Our media section for all the YouTube videos and cool things we find around the web.
Don't worry about explaining it, Saurus. They can go and look at that. They can look at the website themselves, or they can check out that video I've just posted.
They can
and
check
that will
out that
explain
video.
all of that
you just posted. And that video that you just posted is how to navigate and sort of how to use the site, I guess. Right?
How to internet.
How to internet.
internet.
Right?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to learn how to internet properly.
No. Can help anybody.
So do we want to move forward on to some news?
I think we should.
I think we should.
too.
Twerk, why don't you let us know what 1.3 patch is all about and why you despise it so much?
I don't despise it so much, but it's definitely live, and it's definitely buggy, right? And the buggy is a pun intended, because buggies are in ArcCorp, and some people are flying buggies in Arena Commander.
Floating,
right? So it's
floating buggies.
Yeah, they're floating in Arena Commander with their buggies, it's pretty cool, but yeah, at the same time, not the most ideal situation, right, for everybody. But it seems to be a lot of issues related to rental equipment credits, or not rental equipment credits, but like renting weapons or taking your weapons off of a ship that you already own and putting it onto a ship that you want to fly. And but there's some really cool stuff, like the Galleria is really cool, the new area in ArcCorp.
Yeah.
There's a lot of open space where you can look up at some more skyline, a lot of ships flying by instead of just like one or two. It's really like busy and active. Makes it feel alive, which is really nice. Now, a lot of people are obviously dealing with issues with this patch. I'm hearing like crazy different ones from everybody. So whether falling through your hangar floor, some people are saying their hangar lighting gets really bright until it turns all white. Just weird.
I know how to fix that. So
go ahead.
With the hangar lighting stuff, if you have using a user.cfg, you need to turn anti-aliasing from 0 to 1. That fixes all the camera issues.
There you go. There you go. Fixes live on Redacted, guys.
Yeah.
Odd
Don't say we didn't
first.
tell you something. Yeah.
Or something.
You did. So, like things like that, but it's kind of to be expected because it's the first patch after the merge. The only weird thing about it that I don't quite understand, and again, I've said this multiple times, I'm not a game developer, so I don't get it, but we didn't have these issues on the PTU.
We didn't have
this bad.
1.3F is not this patch.
Yeah, which doesn't, why?
So they must have either fixed other stuff and put other implementations in that we didn't see in the next patch, or they changed something or removed something and put it back to patch E, which was buggy.
Yes.
Well, this is sort of what they do with everything from PTU to public is kind of what I've noticed anyways. We'll get some things that weren't in the PTU that are now in public, and it's like, oh, this is a pleasant surprise. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was, something that they added that sort of broke things again.
Yeah. And, it's all right. It's cool. Like the thing that I'm having a lot of fun with again is like a lot of the changes that we had in the PTU. So, the little flicker off the ships with the lasers to let you know that it's hitting them. It's really enjoyable. The overall, gameplay improvements are good. It's not that stable, and it's fine. Like now I have a question for you guys in the chat and on YouTube and stuff like that. Would you have preferred them to keep it in PTU a bit longer and see if what's happening here, if they can avoid it, or are we okay with just them pushing it out to live and seeing what happens and then fixing these bugs as they go? I mean, it's not like we aren't used to it. So I mean, what do you guys think, Bored and WTF? What would you have?
I'll let
done?
BoredGamer go first.
So this is the thing. We don't know the exact circumstances. It might have been fixed until it got pushed onto the live servers, and there might be something about that push onto the live servers which is causing the bugs. So in that respect, if they've got it fixed so that it is playable, and because for me this one is only barely playable, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, I would say barely too as well.
For someone that wants to film it and wants to film a load of different weapons and trying to do like an hour's worth of filming, I'm going to be crashing every 25 minutes, every half an hour.
Yeah.
So it's very aggravating for me. So if it was an issue with the PTU and that could have been kept in a couple more days to fix this, I'd rather them do that. But it could be that it's a live thing and they need to get it out. I'm very juxtaposed about the whole situation.
Yeah. Like for me, it's acceptable. I mean, it's playable to me. So if you can get into a match, shoot around, and do all of that other stuff, that's playable. That's what I expect. You have to remember the way I'm looking at it is what it is. It's an alpha. I know it's still frustrating. Like, don't get me wrong. It is frustrating for me to go in and want to do like a 3 or 4 hour stream and I'm crashing, twice an hour or once every 45 minutes
or more,
something
most likely
like that.
more. Yeah.
I haven't had as many crashes, I think, as you guys have. I get stuck on loading screens. Our corp won't load, or I'll load in the wrong ship, or sometimes I crash out of a match or something. But it hasn't been too crazy for me. But as long as the game launches, to me, it's an alpha, right? So as long as the game launches and I can move around and it's not just instant crash all the time, and those crashes are avoidable, which they are if you don't go into squadron battle or you don't go into battle royale, or I can go into. I haven't had it crash on me in a race yet, or in Arc Corp, oddly enough. So you can do things in there. So I mean, that's how I look at it. I would still say it's playable. I still would have said, what would have hurt it keeping it on the PTU and being tested more, right? It seemed like we were getting those patches.
I think the reason for that is that 2.0 is coming out extremely soon.
Right.
So if they release 1.3 and then 2.0 the next week, it just seems a bit pointless. So I think they did push that ahead of schedule effectively.
And I mean, so I don't really care one way or another. I'm okay with it being pushed to public, because more people are going. It kind of forces more people to try it out and all that other stuff as well.
But there is just a little bit of a thing that, although it's not a plug and play game, it is an alpha game, and we can still play it. It's like with the Oculus. I mean, they're not consumer products yet, but we can still get gameplay out of them, and it's aggravating when we were able to get gameplay out of it before, but not now for some reason, not as much anyway. But I do love a lot of the improvements, and I love the frame rate increase.
Yes,
I love
great.
it. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And I love some of the other stability, because we're getting crashed out for random things. But yeah, like in the social module, I haven't had a crash. At all.
Yeah, same. I've had more crashes in the menu and my hangar than I have on the social module, so it's a pretty good sign, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
no, the social module is coming along fairly well. They have the buggies in there, even though it's kind of like Mad Max at the moment.
Yeah, it is a little crazy.
I like all the balance changes. I'm really enjoying the balance changes. The switch from ballistic to laser weapons for me is really, really cool.
I think that's what's the most frustrating about the patch. It's not that. I don't think it's that the game crashes. It's that you're really unable to kind of test weapons out and give them a try.
Oh, you need to read more XML spreadsheets. You can do it all in your head.
You can do it in your head. But
don't let your dreams be dreams.
There's that, and on top of that, it was more playable in the PTU than it is now. So we did get to enjoy it, and now we don't as much.
That's right.
But other than that, I mean, I think there are some really good things, and I think the biggest thing is missiles, man. For so long, I mean, how many months were missiles broken? And I wouldn't call them broken anymore. I would call them...
I'd say they're a little under-effective now.
Well, this is the thing, though. Now they'll miss their target, and then they'll lock onto somebody else without any warning, and then they'll just hit you. So it's not like they're totally fixed. There's still some things
they're in a
on.
way better shape than they were.
They're in a
shape.
way better place than what they were. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was overall, I'm happy it went to public. I think I'm hoping, knock on wood, that we're going to get that, that PTU for 2.0 in the near future.
Oh yeah.
But we'll just have
I
to
think that maybe I think that's another thing. Like this morning before I started my stream today, I went and checked out the dev tracker. And usually when we're dealing with this many issues, you would usually see Will Leverett or somebody pop in and be like, hey, we're working on stuff, hang tight. Things are going to get better. Here's some bugs that we're working on or whatever. And there's been it's been really quiet.
Yeah.
And you can look at that in a positive way in that they're really busting their ass on 2.0 and they're not so concerned about 1.3 as in it's really close and we're not going to care about what happened this last week potentially, so that's kind of how I'm trying to look at it.
But 1.3 is out and that's sort of where it's at right now. We also have Gurmok is working on the P72 concept.
Oh, there was so much anger with this, wasn't there?
There was a lot. There was, yeah. It was.
So
it was pretty wild.
In ATV, basically, they said, kind of almost misspoke and said it was a racer.
Yeah.
Because
Darian Vorlik tried to correct him too, and he was like, "But it's a racer." And Darian's like, "No."
And basically, the last concept art they had seen of it was it drag racing against some other ships.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you'll be able to do with it is, to a lesser extent, or possibly even a greater extent, race with it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not its main thing. It's supposed to be faster and more luxurious than the P52. That's what we know.
I mean, it goes with your Phoenix. It's not like you bring your Phoenix to the racetrack and pop out your Merlin and start racing.
Yeah.
You could, but it's not...
And it's a testament to, I'm sure there will be some P72s that are tweaked for racing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah. Just like you'll see, M50s that are tweaked for something other than racing or 350Rs.
Interceptors.
Yeah.
You could make them relatively good interceptors, or I can imagine them shooting down torpedoes really well. M50s, literally just trying to protect capital ships and just fly around, not getting hit by bombers or their fighters, just trying to shoot down torpedoes and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. We also know with that P72 though that it's going to have probably 4 size 1 guns.
Yes.
So I think that's quite
That
powerful.
centerline gun's not going to be there anymore, right?
No size 2 there. Fuel injection.
Fuel injection.
Fuel injection.
All the speed. All the power.
For that race, that parasite.
For that racer.
Yeah. And this ship won't have the ability to do any jumps or...
It's a proper parasite ship again. No jump drive or whatever, and almost certainly no ability to fit one.
Right.
Unless they go mad and go, no, no. Well, actually, you can now buy a jump drive with LTI.
Yeah.
But that's unlikely to happen.
Exactly. And moving forward, radar system is getting rework again.
Yeah, and hopefully this is fixing a lot of the things that I know have frustrated me, and I've talked about it with you too before, Source, is it gets pretty darn frustrating, is the that thing where you're locked onto somebody and attacking them, and then you're not.
What you need to learn to work is how to shoot them without the lock on. Just use your brain pips.
I don't have that many chlorines, okay, so I can't use the force.
Brain pips. You just use the force.
Can't use the force.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just feel it.
That is really annoying when your head gets in front of the radar, so it reselects a target.
Yes. So that's pretty frustrating. And it seemed like it was fixed, and then it wasn't. So, yeah.
Well, I'm just sort of wondering, they said they were going to the 2D radar, And then
which I love. The Merlin radar is so good.
yeah, and it was like that on all of the ships for a little bit, right? Like they'd remove the globe, and then they brought the globe back, and who knows?
I don't know what's the idea with that. What everyone knows that 2D radars. Well, for me, a 2D radar is much better.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I prefer the 2D. Ever since flying the Merlin, I love that radar. Maybe I'm just a simpleton, but it's much easier to read.
But that's what you. Yeah, but simple is better in high-paced situations.
Yeah.
Being able to glance at it and know exactly what's going on, rather. And I'm sure some people can do the 3D radar perfectly just by glancing. I can't.
Maybe if you're not planning on being like a combat pilot or something like that, then the 3D radar is really cool and it can look awesome. But I mean, if you're in combat and arena commander, simple is better, way better.
I hope we'll have the choice of being able to do either at some point.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe. Austin office is working on a lot of things we are to see soon. And speaking of the other office, I don't think we have anything here. The other office in LA is moving as well.
Yes.
I saw some tweets
So
from
that's
Sandy
the
and
thing.
retweeted some of those things. But the office in Austin. So what are they working on right now?
So they're the kind of the PU office. So they're working on a lot of the concept art for clothing and hairstyles and things like that. And I think the main thing that we kind of can take away from what they said is that they said female characters should be ready for testing in, he stopped himself and said, weeks. So to try not to give us a friggin' date, which, hey, it's fine. But I wanted to hear something so I can hold them to it.
It's going to make a lot of people happy, though. Those female models, that being able to have a female character in the game already is going to make a lot of people a lot happier.
Absolutely. People have been talking about, getting the female models in for some time, and it's really good for females to be able to roleplay themselves, right?
Yeah.
You know, they want to hop in game and play, but it's kind of hard when you're not a female. You're just some bald guy like we've had forever.
I play females on a lot of the MMOs I do.
Me too.
I probably won't in Star Citizen, because I've got a lot more like RP spirit going towards it. It's very much more me, the character.
Yeah.
But that being said, I will probably play my main character's descendants will be female briefly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like mine, I would have females too.
I'm assuming that I'm going to die a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm assuming I'm going to die a lot too. I really wonder how this death mechanic is going to last.
I honestly think...
Are we going to get some time out of our characters?
Well, I honestly
think... If we're really bad?
That we are going to have... Because we're going to be trying everything. We're not going to be amazing at anything, because we'll be trying everything out. Yeah. Which means we're probably going to die a lot more.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it also depends on what line of work you're into, I think. How often you're going to die. I think that if you're doing some exploration, maybe not as much. Maybe not as much with...
Depends if you're in the danger zone, doesn't it?
It does depend.
I guess where you're exploring.
Where you're exploring or mining or trucking or whatever. But for all those things, you could stay relatively safe if you wanted to. I think what I'm looking forward to doing, I think there's going to be probably a lot of deaths involved. But so be it. Explosions per manufacturer are coming.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know when. They kind of just briefly mentioned it, which I think it's pretty cool. Like, we have the explosion that we saw for the Connie, so I guess that's the RSI explosion, but we're seeing...
So pretty.
Yeah, it's so awesome. But we're also seeing, like, that explosion kind of with the missiles and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see more variety in the game, right? So, like, as you blow up an Aegis ship or as you blow up an RSI ship and so on, it's just going to make the game feel more immersive when you're seeing different explosions all the time.
But it's good. I mean, that paired with the being able to cut ships in two and effectively having two ships that are sort of like an earthworm. You cut it in two, and it becomes two separate ships.
Two separate ships, yeah.
But, I mean, people are going to get really annoyed at me because that's not how worms work. But, yes, combined with the explosions individually with that and being able to cleave those ships in two and do silly stuff like that, for me, that's going to be really sciencey as soon as we get the
Yeah.
PTU, the PU 2.0,
Yeah.
saying, how many parts can we cut this ship into and it still works?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they mentioned like them working in 2 different pieces, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be really cool to sort of see that. I think it was it the Constellation that they confirmed like breaks into 4 pieces or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
think
something like
that's-
that.
It was something like that, yeah. I didn't catch too much of that news, but it does sound very cool. Like working on
Just
one
briefly
part
mentioned,
of
but I was like,
the broken thing, and then EVA over to the other part of your ship, and I don't know,
and just fly away.
and just fly away.
But just think about looting. When you're looting people's ships and you've won the battle and you're like, wait, their mates are coming soon. I need to choose what section of the ship to loot.
Yeah.
This one.
The storage
Yeah.
area, exactly. The behind
So
the
I think
scenes,
that's pretty cool.
the behind the scenes of CitizenCon was pretty cool.
It was pretty neat.
It was
Yeah.
pretty neat.
So I mean, if you want to show it,
I'll pull it up.
it's cool. I mean, they just kind of talked about, again, I mean, it was pretty basic, the behind the scenes of CitizenCon, but a lot of the things that was cool to see is, like, I don't know about you guys, maybe it just comes from me playing a lot of poker. I really don't think it does, though. I think it's just from me being a regular old human being. You can kind of tell when people are being genuine and when they're not. And with all the kind of stuff that's been going around about CIG and things like that of late, I thought this was really cool to see because you can just see how genuine everyone felt about what they were saying and their feelings about the reactions that everyone had at CitizenCon. Like, Bored, I know you were there, so you were there giving those reactions to them, and they were just taking them in and just loving it, you know. And they said so many nice things about, I guess, like, they worked so hard and then the reward was you guys being happy, and that was enough, you know. So, you know, that was pretty much what they spoke about on the video. But the video was really cool and it was fun to watch. And when I first was like, oh, behind the scenes of CitizenCon, who cares? And then I watched it and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Who cares?
Yeah. It's not like who cares, but I was like, I want to see the sneak peek. Like, every time I see ATV, I was like, give me the news, give me the cool new stuff, right? And I usually skip over this stuff and come back to it later. And
Well, speaking of the sneak peek,
this was actually really cool.
Speaking of the sneak peek, it was the Xi'an materials, right?
So we're going to
yeah.
call it. Can we all decide, because me and Soros have been trolling each other with different pronunciations of the Xi'an Scout, can we all call it the Xi'an Scout? Xi'an. Is
Xi'an.
everyone
Xi'an.
Yeah, that's
Xi'an.
The Jean.
Can everyone in chat please go wild about how they think that it should be said? Because lots of people have said different things. The way I assumed it was actually done, and I have trolled people in videos before, is Xi'an.
yeah.
As in
Jean.
S-H-E-E-A-N.
I'm with Twerk on this one. I'm on.
Yeah, I think it's Jean.
Oh, I don't know anymore. I'm so sorry. I
Who knows?
Who knows?
don't want to add to the
But
confusion.
the
I don't wanna
materials
add
are
to
really
it.
cool, and it doesn't look anything like the model or the concept art we've seen before. It's very.
No.
It's very. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not organic, because it's definitely not that, but it is a little bit of that. It's like organic mechanical, kind of.
Well, like
living
the first,
machine. It's living
Yeah,
machine. It's very much so. Yes.
Yeah, and the first picture was a bug, right?
Insect. It's very insect in. Like, look at the eyes. It's basically got like fly eyes.
Look at its eyes.
Yeah.
Look at it. But I really, really like this version more so than the red little thing that we've seen before. I always thought that the Scout was really kind of cool, and we'll actually talk more about this Scout later on today. But this. I was like, oh wow! All of a sudden,
Xi'an technology.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I like it quite a bit more.
Yeah.
So,
like a lot of what I was saying the first time I saw it is those wings kind of on the back.
mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the Reapers from Mass Effect.
Yeah, very
a little
much
bit.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. And like obviously, you know, even though the Reapers were the enemy, it was a very
Whoa! They weren't. They were nice. Spoilers.
they were
good
really
guys.
nice. They were nice people. They're a really cool ship design for sure,
Mhm.
right? So I like that they kind of. I don't know if that was an inspiration, but it certainly looks like that to me.
And then moving forward into other concept ships aplenty.
Yes. And this was from RTV, so we're going to
today,
speak a
right?
bit more about. No, this was from RTV this past Friday.
Okay.
Was what this was said about, and then there's going to be a little bit more information from the special subscriber RTV, which we'll go into in just a few minutes.
Okay.
And so the first thing that they kind of said was the Crucible needs one more pass. So it's like just about ready, and they kind of mentioned that again today, which is pretty cool. And then Ben is working on how the robot arm works, which we'll talk a bit more about that in a few minutes. And the kind of one of the big things for me is that the Reliant variants are decided on, and they're going to design soon. So I think one of the variants that they kind of really dropped to us was that news reporter variant.
Right, the news van.
And we don't know if it's we don't know if it's made it.
That's
like,
the sound it makes when you have incoming news.
Oh, okay.
Special report.
Thanks for that.
No? No.
Yeah, I wasn't
no
sure.
one's with me on that one?
I wasn't sure.
Nope.
Okay. Fair enough.
But so that's kind of the interesting thing is that there's a few variants. We don't quite know what they are, but they're done. So now they know what they want to do with it, and usually we start hearing some news about them pretty soon.
Right.
After they kind of figure out what they want to be, right? We'll start hearing like, oh, well, the variants are this, this, and this, and then we can start talking about what they might look like and what they might do, like what they kind of did with the Avenger, right? Like, oh, we're going to have an E-War variant.
Yeah.
So I think that's, some interesting news.
I just want, if we have somebody in a news van variant, I just want to be able to go, like, over to you, Ollie. It's gonna rain!
Yeah.
And then back or it's a comet!
I desperately now want to have Geo as an anchor for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be content.
That is. We just have
gonna be some
him,
news.
and we just go to him, and he's like...
Or Tokyo. Supreme Tokyo would be an amazing anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any one of those guys. And then we have the anniversary live stream and sale coming up on
Yes.
November 19th to the 26th for this. It's going to be 20% off all merch, right?
So all physical merchandise.
All physical merchandise.
Physical
except
merchandise,
for
The
game
Constellation model.
No, except for the Constellation model, which is going to be 20% off its base price and the subscriber price for everybody. And game packages. So any physical game packages, there's no...
I did not know that.
They said that, yeah.
That was news for me.
So their live stream is going to be on the 19th. I don't know if we know what time it is. They usually do these kind of things at 11 a.m. PST.
They're usually long, right?
Yeah. So not entirely sure what time that is. Obviously, coming up on that week, we'll get more information.
We do know
on
some
the
other stuff as well. So there is going to be a new ship on sale then as well.
That's
which
correct.
I'm assuming is the Crucible.
Yeah.
You have to assume, right? After all this information.
But I mean, it could be anything now. I mean, I think the Crucible has been ready for a while, and they haven't sold it for some reason. But I also, I think CIG would say, no, they're ready when they're ready. But I do think there's so much happening at the moment that it would be silly for them to push it out. But it could be the Dragonfly. It could be a totally unseen ship. It could be that Corvette. It could be anything. So exciting.
Yeah, the one thing, I guess we can mention it later, I just didn't write it down, but it just popped in my head, was after the Reliant variants are worked on, they're working on the Prowler.
Yes.
So that's a thing that they had mentioned, but I never wrote that in the doc because I forgot, because there's a lot going on. But yeah, so I don't know, there was also the special subscriber RTV today. And
that was right
they did
before
it with the artists right before us, like about an hour before we went live, which was pretty cool. It was cool. The artists were kind of just chilling and being themselves, which is pretty interesting to see. I think that's always fun to see. But they did answer a few interesting things. We definitely had an issue hearing them in the beginning, so I wrote "Red One Strikes Again" in the doc because hey, gotta have some fun. Gotta have some fun with our boy Jared. And then Ben's hair was pretty epic as well, right?
He just got a haircut.
I love the
with
fact
his
this is
wife.
news. This
Yeah.
is news.
Ben's hair
now.
is
This
news.
now. Yeah.
Ben's hair is 100%.
We have now
news.
turned into the E channel
Yeah.
of Star Citizen
Yes.
news and information.
Ben's
Some
hair is
rumors.
news. Sorry, guys.
Uh,
But then there was a lot of information on the Crucible, so I would like to talk a bit more about that.
Yep.
And so it's going to have a clamshell door. So if you've ever seen the space shuttle, when it would like launch a satellite or something like that, it opens like this. And then it's going to have that arm that we were talking about earlier, where Ben is kind of working on how it's going to pull a ship in. And they mentioned that the size of the ship that will fit inside there is a Hornet / Gladius size. And after that, if there's a larger ship that it won't hold it inside, it will actually repair it from the outside.
Yeah,
I think it will kind of dock
I think
to
they
it.
were talking about it before, not necessarily today, but how it has latticing that you can like get out in space.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's how they're going to keep going with it, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk with you guys about. Is they had mentioned that they were going to have that latticing a long time ago, and they really didn't mention it at all today. They're mentioning like pulling ships in and working on them from the outside. Which, did they get away from that? I wonder. I thought that was one of the cool things about it. So that was something
that's something
kind of,
that I thought was going
pumped
to be
about
really
the ship.
cool about. Yeah,
Yeah.
to be able to see like
And they
a
didn't-
dry dock in space kind of deal.
Yeah, like, and it didn't have to be, your ship didn't have to be a dry dock, but it could kind of turn into one. And I thought that was something that a lot of people were interested in, and then they didn't mention it. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing the concept. But I guess there are clothing designers in the verse. So like as people pass by, you might be able to tell what clothing designer they're wearing and stuff like that. Just as if
I'm
like,
telling you,
hey,
we're
that's
turning
Major
into
ship.
E. We'll turn into
Yeah.
E, and we'll be like, oh, so what is Twerk 17 wearing this season? What is
This
it?
season he's wearing
Yeah.
I phone you late at night to work. What you wearing in Star Citizen?
nothing. At night I wear nothing.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh,
In Star Citizen I'm going
Nothing between
commando
him and
too.
his computer.
how naked can we get in Star Citizen? I mean,
Yeah.
that's another important thing. How naked
That is-
can we still
I-
survive the vacuum of space?
Yeah.
Hey, we apparently don't need neck guards, so
Well, they touched on
They
that
mentioned
in the special sub RTV today, where yeah, right now you don't see some of that because those things weren't ready for in the game, but they actually have how all the seals go together for the wrists and for the neck and for the boots and all of that other stuff, and we're going to start to see that in. And not all outfits are going to be EVA possible. Right?
yeah,
So
that was one thing.
maybe
that
something
was
like
interesting to hear.
the Marine Light isn't EVA possible, but the medium and heavy both are. And we're going to start to learn what functionality those different suits have over time as we start pass on those over and over again. But I thought that was really interesting and a good thing to hear for sure, because yeah, we still sort of see some of the bare neck syndrome.
Yeah. One thing that was kind of like frustrating about it is they brought artists on, and then the artist kept saying that we can't talk about this, we can't talk about that, we can't talk about this. Like, maybe we should have brought the artists on at a different time or something like that, because there was like a lot of stuff that they couldn't. Oh, we can't talk about this, and it was just like, what? Like and a lot of it was like the beginning of the cast, and then they kind of like were like, oh well, we can talk about this, and then it started getting more interesting. But at the beginning I was like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
Can't be Star
and then-
Citizen because we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
Happy. Yeah.
So
first
they
rule
kinda-
about Star Citizen is you don't talk about Star Citizen.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, this may have been a mistake, guys. But then it started getting interesting. Like, they're like one thing that they said no to, but they just said no, that they're not thinking about it at the moment, is the being able to paint our ships and stuff like that. It's just not something they're talking about right now, but it's still in the plans, so that's good.
And it's the same with
And,
the customization of clothes and everything else as well.
Yeah, it's not time for that stuff yet, right? But it's good that they're still there. And then they also mentioned later, I wrote it down. I don't know where I wrote it down. I can't find it. But there's something where like custom icons to put on your ship. So like org logos and things
Yeah.
like that. Ben was like, yes, we want that in. We want that in. Don't know if we'll be able to get it in or whatever, but we want that in.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well,
okay.
a really good example of that in the CryEngine is now obviously the fidelity levels are a little different, but is ArcAge. ArcAge, you can bring in those custom icons or custom whatever, and you can put them on a T-shirt or a jacket or your sails of your ship or all kinds of different things. So
yeah, because everyone wants to be unique, and I think that's a great way to do it. I don't know how they're going to prevent, like, you know, dicks on your ship and stuff.
Well,
like
that's
that,
the thing is people will report that kind of stuff, right? Like, you could say the same thing happens in ArcAge, but then somebody will report it and then it'll get removed.
Yeah, and
right?
I think the Star System community is more mature as well, which is...
Yeah, I mean, so a lot, yes, on average is more mature. But, I mean, loads of people are going to want to exploit and do dickish things still. And so...
And where do you draw that line, right? Like, can you have organization dick butt? Right? Like, I mean, like that's a thing, right? Like, you know?
Oh, God.
I mean, yeah.
If it doesn't exist already, it will by the end of the cast.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Oh, dear.
I hope you become a strong and prosperous organization.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, you try to make sure that you remove stuff that's obvious trolling and breaks some people's immersion as best you can without breaking other people's fun. It's a really, really hard line to walk.
Yeah, it's definitely a fine line there for sure.
Yeah.
Drake doesn't care if it looks pretty confirmed. What? What is this note?
Like, it was just like when I was writing notes down, and I thought I was going to clean them up later, and I guess I kind of forgot. The one guy he's like the young kid that he was sitting in the back right. He's a material art. He was like doing the materials for a long time. He was talking about how the inside of the Herald. He was talking about whether he was going to expose the insulation, because like in his mind and like the style guide of Drake is they don't care if the ship looks pretty. They just care that it works. Right. They just care that it flies. So the inside may not be the prettiest ship in the world. So
the way I see Drake,
for us to talk about that, and the
way I see Drake is very much sort of like if you were in space for long periods of time, you'd be able to fix it with just a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And it's very much for militia and planets that don't have huge processing plants and huge like amounts of repairs. They'll have to do the repairs on the fly themselves.
Kind of like the industrial hillbillies.
Yeah, but I love that about Drake ships because they're going to be really effective and quite robust and durable, but maybe not the best at anything.
Right.
Well, maybe not. I think we're talking about the Cutlass. Every time we talk about Drake, I think we talk about the Cutlass, where that's probably the Cutlass. May not be the best at everything, right?
I just feel that the Drake
Drake in general is a cheap,
but I mean, the Drake Herald is going to be really good at
one thing. Yeah.
One thing.
But that's fine. Yeah. But
it's not one of those.
Doesn't mean it's not all industrial. It's very industrial made. Yeah. It's designed. Like, even though the Drake, the Cutlass or the Caterpillar is something that you can use for multiple uses, doesn't mean that it doesn't have function design. And that's sort of what it looks like it has. Like, it's designed, its function comes first, and then design is after, kind of thing. So it's sort of built around what it needs to do or what they want it to be capable of doing, and then whatever. Whereas you look at something like, what's a good example? Maybe even like the Xi'an or something, where it's more
the Xi'an.
The Xi'an is more of a design perspective from it, right? Like maybe their culture is more into the design of it.
Yeah.
So the UK is handling MISC, Aegis, and Vanduul ships, where the US offices are working on Origin, RSI, Drake, and Anvil.
And I think that's important to mention, because when people come on to these shows and you want to ask them questions, you know what to ask them questions about.
Copy that down now as links. I didn't know that.
Because so many people ask questions that are not relevant to the situation that's going on, that it actually is kind of it doesn't seem like it's important when you heard it, but I think
Right.
I honestly think it is.
So is that to say that probably in Squadron 42 that we're likely to see less ships from Origin, RSI, Drake, and Anvil, other than the Idris and Idris and Hornets?
No, I think most of the Anvil ships are probably done
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Or majority of the ones that they want for Squadron 42. I think
Yeah,
is a better answer for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
are
Yeah,
done.
that makes sense.
And Aegis is the Idris and things like that. So there's larger ships, but and then I think they're probably working mostly on Vandal at the moment, right? So that's
Vandal
kind of where
and
I
possibly
get
other
from
alien
that.
ships, right?
Yeah, like maybe there's ships that they're not mentioning.
Well, there's definitely going to have to be for
Yeah.
the Xi'an, or for Banu, or Kurthak, or Tavarin. So we're gonna have to see. We haven't seen a lot of those already, or if we have,
No.
we've seen concept of like one of their ships, right? So
Yeah.
it'll be very very interesting to see those in there. We also have some screenshots here from the Alpha
Yes.
2.0 test.
This is from the subscriber vault. This popped up just kind of as we were going live, which is pretty
So-
cool.
Some pretty cool shots here. I really like this, the Corvalex or the Kovalex station. It had a very
Yeah.
strong like Alien Isolation / Dead Space vibe to it, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I
So
think that
it-
was
it-
it there.
Like, are they going to jump scare us?
Are they gonna
Well, they
jump?
did.
I feel like they
I hope
have
so.
to.
They have talked about possibly being aliens that scare you and attack you on derelicts, but also remember you can be jump scared by another human or just a standard NPC,
That's
depending on
true.
what you're doing.
Like, oh crap! This guy pops out of the corner.
Yeah.
Let's not show all of these pictures because they are on the subscriber thing, and I want people to subscribe if they want to get to see them all. But
Yeah.
Proxys is gonna put them up on Reddit in like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
anyways,
they're already
but-
up on Reddit anyway.
if they're up on Reddit, it's fine. It's fine.
They're up on Reddit.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I don't feel guilty.
Yeah, I know, but
But all in all, very cool. Very cool stuff. And then moving forward from that, I think that's about it for that, for the news that we've had. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to Starship Showcase. But before we do that, I just want to remind everybody that if you have a question for either myself, Twerk17, or BoredGamer, ! Question in chat, just make sure you select who the question is to, make it appropriate to either what we're talking about here on Star Citizen or about one of us in our channels or whatever. Please remember that we are not developers for Star Citizen. We are just content creators.
We can pretend we are, though.
Twitches and the
Pretend.
YouTube. We'll pretend. I make Star Citizen! This is how we all sound now!
Why do we all speak like this?
Star Citizen is great.
Oh my god,
Okay.
Twerk, that's amazing.
Okay, anyways.
That's how you
Look at this
scream.
ship! It's a weird one. It's a weird one.
There were some interesting ships on, like, if you took a peek every now and then, it looked like there were some ships that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
On,
was.
on like a landing pad or something. Don't know what it is.
We'll have to take a closer look at that. But do you want to give me the information about the Cartual?
Yes. So like always, we got a little theme going on. So there was some talk about the Scout. So I'm gonna try and pronounce this. The Aopoa.
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 It's Aopoa. I'm so sorry.
Aopoa.
Everything we say wrong. I am so sorry, CIG. I'm
Why
so
can't
sorry,
I
Chris.
find
Roberts.
this? Oh,
And
you
everyone
guys
else
moved the
that's
tab
listening.
on me.
Yeah, I told you. I
the
told you
tab
I
moved.
moved it. Boom! I'm
Yeah.
making big changes, Saurus. Deal with
Yeah.
it.
It makes sense that it's there anyway. The Aopoa, Aopoa, Xi'an,
Xi'an.
Scout
Xi'an.
/ Carthual.
No, look. Let's try not to create confusion. A lot of people say it differently. A lot of people say it randomly.
Say it however you want.
apparently
This is
says
the
it
thing.
wrong.
Just wait until one of the characters in the game pronounces it, and then we'll know who's right.
And then you know how.
That's
But
it.
Chris
Exactly.
Roberts pronounces it different to Disco Lando.
Yeah, exactly.
He says he's read it from the brief document. So I got told reliably it was Xi'an, but people are now saying it's Xi'an. So I don't know.
I've heard Jean.
I've
Just
also
straight
heard
up
Xi'an
Jean.
because that's how you pronounce the XI, isn't it?
Yeah.
So who the hell knows? But so it's the Scout/Karthwal. So you'll hear it called two different things. And I'm not sure what the original price was. I searched for it and couldn't really find it. I always have a hard time finding the original price for concept ships. So if anyone has like a good way of doing that, please let me know for when we do these things. I purchased it for $150 on the last anniversary sale. And I don't think it's going to go up from there. That's what it will be the next time that it pops up for the anniversary sale. So expect it to be $150. And that's all pre-tax and VAT taxes or wherever you live. So the Xi'an Awapoa Corporation manufactures this model of the Karthwal, or the Choir, Choir Karthu, which is what their ship is called, and we call it the Karthwal, for human civilians as a dedicated scout/explorer. Now that was on the original sale page. It's also called a light fighter, so there's all sorts of things that this ship may be, and we don't really know what it is.
It's alien. That's
so its
why.
focus, yeah, it's alien. So yeah, we don't know, but it's labeled a light fighter. It's 10 meters in length, mass 15,000 kilograms, max crew of 2, which is cool. It's a small ship, but it's got 2 guys on it. Cargo capacity is 0. The primary engines and maneuvering thrusters are kind of TBD, and it's going to have 2 small power plants. And all this information that I'm going to be sharing with you right now is from that recent 10 for the designers. So this is recent information, and we know that this is confirmed-ish information.
Well, we know from
right?
before, I don't know if this has changed, that this is a ship that doesn't really have primary engines. I think even the primaries are maneuvering thrusters.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be like ultra maneuverable, like more than any ship that we have now, I would expect. So that's like kind of the style it's going to play, which I can imagine this being a really fun ship to play. But anyway, 2 times small power plants and maybe 4. They have to make that decision. I guess depending on speeds and what kind of weapons they're going to put on. I think it's maybe 4 if they add those 2 weapons that I'm going to talk about in just a second. It currently is going to have 2 size 3 lasers. Maybe they're going to add 2 more size 2s. So you're able to have 4 size 3s. I think everything was gimbaled in this situation. It's going to have 1 shield, 1 medium-sized shield, and 1 small jump drive. So he said small jump drive, and I thought that was pretty interesting that possibly jumps are not going to be based on the size of your ship, maybe the size of your jump drive. Maybe.
We don't know enough
We don't
about
know.
that, unfortunately.
But when he mentioned that, I was kind of like, maybe that's what that means.
Also, with those 2 size 2 lasers you talked about that might be gimbaled, I'm assuming they'd be 2 fixed size 2s, and that it would be 2 size 3s and 2 size 2s. That would be my take on that.
Yeah, I think I think you might be right.
4 size 3s. I mean, they're basically making a saber again.
Yeah.
It's more maneuverable, but
Yeah. So
We'll have to wait
who knows?
and see.
We'll have to wait. The only actual super information that's pretty cool that they gave us was that it's going to go 270 meters a second. So that is
The same as
that's omega speed, right?
the Omega, that's correct, and the Gamma.
Yeah. So that's pretty damn fast.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like
10 meters
if you fought
slower
against
than the
those, they're
M50,
quick.
And 30 meters a second slower.
if you can imagine that it's going to be strafing at
300.
near that speed because of all of its thrusters. I mean, that's going to be insane.
Well, are we going to be blacking out nonstop, do you think? Is it going to be so maneuverable that we're just going to black out? Possibly. Right? I think it would be interesting to see what happens with that. But who knows?
Just seeing if there's any weird
I'm just
effects on my hands when I move it. No,
I never thought about it until just now that it's going to be pretty nuts if we're strafing at those speeds. So we'll probably just black out instantly, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? One of it's going
Unless
to be like
there's
full
some
of
sort of
fluid
like
or
alien
something.
technology that keeps you from blacking out.
No, because you'd have it on all the ships, wouldn't you? If that was the
Yeah.
case. We'll
That's
be interested, but maybe you won't be strafing it. I think you'll be strafing at high speeds, but probably not high enough to make your blackout
It's a really
constant.
cool
Yeah.
ship when it's all folded up and sort of sitting there. I mean, this is a really cool design. I like it.
Even the old one.
But
right?
the new one is definitely that's not it
I think
here.
we
This
like
is
take
it here.
this design and we look at the materials and add them to this, right? Because those were just
Yeah.
kind of material.
Well, this is the materials here that I'm showing
Yeah.
again.
Oh, I can't see it right now. Yeah, so it's cool.
Oh, it is cool, isn't it?
Yeah. So like you kind of think about. I love the bug eye.
Yeah,
That's
just
very
the whole like that whole design is really well done.
And I remember they really wanted to
excited.
hold this off to share alien technology with us, like seriously. And this was going to be the ship that was the end all be all kind of
But it's really hard
alien
to make
technology ship.
alien-looking technology by using styles and things from Earth, isn't it? Because that's what they're doing. They're looking at things on Earth to inspire alien designs, which is an interesting thing in
Yeah.
of itself. So
It's hard,
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
But I think
but I
they're
think
doing
they're
a good
taking
job.
cues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they're taking
If you
cues
look
from
at-
Mass Effect.
if-
It looks like and stuff too.
If you look at like what they've done with the Xi'an, what they've done with the Vanduul, we actually have it even flying here as well.
And this is a very very old video.
yeah. This is
when the
this
ship
is when
first
they
went on sale.
Talked about it, and it's just like it's got this guy. It's all very basic, and it's showing is like maneuverable and going around one of these terraformers. This guy doesn't even have a helmet on, just sitting there, but
Yeah.
very cool.
He's got like the old face
yeah.
mask, which is pretty cool.
But yeah, like the Xi'an Scout to me is one of the it is very cool. It isn't something that I have. So Twerk, you said you have this ship. BoredGamer,
I have
do you
one,
have
yeah.
one of these?
No,
don't
doesn't
have
appeal to me at all.
No.
Let me say, medium fighters are the things I like most. I need guns,
Yeah.
and I like speed, but I don't like super maneuverability.
Yeah.
I
Sp-
only picked the ship up for one reason, and it's because I wanted to show it to my stream when it came out.
Okay,
That's all it really. That's like it was definitely going to get melted at some point, I think,
Gotcha.
unless it's really fun and interesting. If it's not, melt it for something else.
So, oh, go ahead.
I'm trying to look for the original, the red wheel one
Mm-hmm.
that they did when who first was making assets. I'm trying to find-
Oh
I'm
yeah, I
trying to
have that
fi-
somewhere.
I'm trying to find that on YouTube at the moment because it's funny to see how it's changed from
Oh yeah,
just a big block wheel thing with turrets on the side to looking something as beautiful as this. And,
yes. Like some of the old alien ships were so ugly,
but it's
and they
weird.
really improved.
It's really weird to see because you think, how has it evolved into such a beautiful looking game? And would have people been inspired as they are by it if that was the assets we were getting?
Mhm.
And
I don't think so.
no, neither do I. I love the fact that the game is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It is and I'm not a person. I certainly don't like pretty games. It's all about the gameplay to me. But for this, just this level of beauty,
Well, why not
it's
have
just
both?
something
It's
else.
so insane. Yeah, I think we're gonna have both, which is awesome.
Exactly.
And I think that goes back to like last week's episode with Pedro, right, where he mentioned we were gonna have a $27 million game, and now he's making a $90 million game, and you could see the difference
Yeah.
between the two, right?
Yeah.
So
Let's jump into some of these questions. If anybody
Let's.
has any other questions, there's not a whole lot here, so we'll be burning through these real
I'm gonna
quick.
bring that doc up.
Exclamation point question in chat. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a question form below that you can fill out for our next podcast. So the first one here is from Asteria. Question all of us. Long question. In the past, MMOs having multiple accounts has been a beneficial thing, i.e. EVE Online or World of Warcraft. However, it seems that MMOs have evolved over time. The need for multiple accounts has dwindled. I'm a bit like Clifford, aka Miku, where I have multiple accounts and thousands.
This is a question from last week.
Is it?
Mhm.
Spent on Star Citizen. However, apart from having one pirate and one goody two shoes account, I'm starting to second guess the need for multiple accounts, since Star Citizen seems like it'll be very time intensive for just about anything you want to do in the verse. What's your opinion on multiple accounts? Waste of time, energy, or money?
I think we talked about multi-boxing last week with that question. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have multiple accounts. I'm going to be having a pirate toon, a normal toon. I've got lots of time to play the game, though, and already have multiple accounts. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have multiple accounts too, and have plans on playing multiple accounts as well. I think I'm gonna have my main account and then one account that I want to start with just an Aurora and work my way up.
Mm-hmm. I may or may
And
not have
I'm kind of
multiple
excited for that.
accounts. That's all the information you're getting. But in regards to is it worth for you? I don't know. Like, it depends on how much time
Everyone
you
plays the
spend,
game
right?
different,
Like
yeah.
I know people who play World of Warcraft, right? And I only had one main tune, and then that was it. I had a bunch of other lobies, but I never played them ever. I use them for bank alts. But I know other people that are like altaholics and just like have like 10 of every class or something, and are just ridiculous.
No.
I think it really depends on what your playstyle is and what it is that you want to do
Yeah.
in the game. Once we know the game's out, and once you know what you want to do, maybe you'll have a character that's a pirate or you know, a bounty hunter or something. Maybe you'll have a character that's just known for mining, right? Or it's just maybe it's just the bank character or something that just holds on to gear for you, or something like that. I mean, we'll have to wait and see to see how beneficial it is, to be honest. Because until we see those mechanics put in, like, we still don't really know the fully fleshed out mechanics of having multiple packages on one account yet.
No, they've shared like little snippets, but we still have no idea, right?
Right,
So
let's move on to a new question.
From Herrick Littis, how do you feel whenever an Aurora is the MVP? What?
I assume that means when he wins a game, a match.
Oh,
I'm assuming that's what he means.
I feel proud that I've just won that match.
wow.
I usually go, damn, that guy's a good pilot.
Yeah, I mean, so the Aurora LN is.
I mean, honest,
it's got
I haven't
that
seen it
armor,
yet.
which
It's
does.
badass.
It reduces so much damage. It's like
Yeah.
25% of ballistic damage. Ballistic weapons are cruddy anyway now. So, I mean, Aurora LNs are very good ships, and especially because they're not worth many points. People are less likely to target you, and you can get those kill shots on people that are just ignoring you. So,
Yeah.
I love the Aurora LN. I think it's great. And you get the Kappa Pride skin.
I personally haven't come up against an Aurora. I may have. I just may not have been paying
have.
attention. But
Every morning.
I haven't noticed one where that's been an
Darkstar
issue.
100 is really good in the Aurora,
Yeah.
and
Every
he's
time
a
I fight him, I
pretty
think he's
regular
been in the
amongst
Hornet.
streams. Oh, so he flies the Hornet against you, I guess.
I
I don't
think
know,
so.
but he actually picks a bunch of different ships, but
Yeah.
he's really good in the Aurora.
Berserker.
Me and Cage, 1 second, me and Cage Geek, we play as Aurora Bros occasionally, and he's just saying stuff. So Auroras are actually really good, especially when you have another Aurora baiting for you. You just
Yeah. Yeah, you need
Come
one
get
baiting.
me, I'm just a lonely Aurora.
Berserker asks, do you think that we will eventually get new game packages due to all the new ships coming online? I hope so.
Yes.
I mean,
what does he mean by game packages? Like, like the big ones?
well, not
like $1,500
necessarily.
game
No,
packages
like
and things like that?
you can't get an M50 game package, can you? Or like a Xi'an Scout game package, or
Yeah.
or a Hull C game package, right? Those aren't.
Every time a ship's flyable, we'll get a game package for it, or even hangar ready. is my assumption.
I feel that what they're going to do is they're going to release game packages with no ships. That would be my feeling. And they'll probably do them for something like $20 early on, and then it slowly increase them every like 3 months by like $5. And I think,
no ships?
So I think it's going to be a Squadron 42 thing. Because at the moment you get the Squadron 42 pre-order, which does come with a ship. I honestly think if I was CIG, I would very much sell just a game package for the people that want to play FPS.
Well, they said they weren't going to do
play
that.
Squadron 42.
They said
they
weren't
would
gonna do that.
So they weren't going to do it at the moment, but I do think I do think they want to attract more people, and I do think it's very beneficial for them to do that. So that would be my thinking.
Like, I imagine that you're coming out of Squadron 42 with enough money earned to buy yourself a ship anyways.
I think you probably get given an
given-
Aurora or...
Well, I think
Mustang.
the plan is you're going to get given whatever ships you own. Right? So whatever ships you own, it's like, oh, thanks for being such, you get this. And in like, for someone who just has an Aurora package, it's like, here, and it would be amazing. It'll be amazing if they have a graduating class and one person, it's like all people who are like just bought in with an Aurora or Mustang or something, and Clifford's in there, and it's like, and this is your ship lineup, sir. And it's like just everything. Like two of
We
everything.
should have brought that to when we were fighting the Vandal.
Yeah. Maybe those 2 javelins and 4 Idrises would have been handy then. Think about that. But yeah, I think as the ships are coming online, we will start to see them in game packages. I'm trying to think, like, does a Gladius have a game package?
Yes.
Okay.
Every ship that's flyable has a game package.
Does it? Okay. So yeah, I imagine once they go flyable,
And even some that aren't.
they become like the freelancer and things like that.
So like if they're hangar ready,
Constellation.
they seem to have game packages. But I don't know if the
Retaliator?
does the Retaliator have one? That's the only one that comes to my mind that I'm not sure if it does.
Well, the other thing that would be really useful to do is if they had the CCU upgrade where you could go, I want to upgrade the Sabre from the Sabre to the Sabre game package. And it literally goes, here's $20 as an item, and you apply it.
Yeah,
Boom.
that would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah, no Retaliator game package.
Yeah. Great Goomba asks, what do you think of the current events going on in the lore? And I think he's talking about the Vandal invasions and everything leading up to...
It's really awesome.
BoredGamer almost had an aneurysm.
So this sort of stuff I'm planning to do lots of videos on, because they've got the bishops, the plain truth thing where they talk about...
Yeah, and Source, I put that in the bottom of the doc if you want to put it up.
This sort of stuff, this sort of lore is really cool. So this is like an outspoken show that called The Plain Truth, or like I'm not sure how it's actually produced. It could be like a guy's Twitter account. It could be a missive. It could be a proper like show. But he talks. It could be the. I don't think it's like The Onion, but he talks out about the government and things that he sees as wrong or whatever. And so this mixed with some of the other lore, the Squadron 42 thing where we saw Bishop, it's Bishop's speech, and the recent killing of that Glaive pilot that was mistaken for an actual Vandal. It's all helps build the world that we're in now. A lot of the other lore people aren't going to read because it's too far in the past. They're like, it's not relevant to the story. I can just read some of the lore. And this is really cool because this is building the story why we wait for the game. This is stuff that's happening in our roleplay kind of experience now.
In our timeline for the game.
Yeah. And we can kind of get involved with that. I love this.
And like they accuse Bishop of letting the Vandal fleet through so they can start a war and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I don't know. For my thoughts on the current events going on in the lore, I don't really pay attention too much to the lore as it is right now. I'm still waiting for Squadron 42 to sort of give me more of that. I'm more interested in the raw gameplay and the raw functionality of the game than the lore myself. I know some people are really into lore and some people are all about that, or will read every quest and all of this other stuff. I'm not one of those people.
I'm into lore if it's building on the character that I'm making in a game. And while I'm waiting for this game to come out, while I'm thinking about Squadron 42, if this enables me to get more into my character's headspace, I love it. For me.
So I think it's cool.
Grizz Warmace asks, how do you feel about the Crucible being the next concept ship?
Pretty pumped about it.
I mean, it's not really
one of
a
the cooler
surprise,
ships,
to be honest, or anything.
No,
I
it's
don't
not a
know.
surprise, so it's hard to... Yeah,
See,
but the the cool thing about it is we're going to hear more about the repair mechanic. Which is kind of exciting.
Or maybe even a building mechanic. I'm thinking that maybe we'll be able to build stuff, even if it's temporary structures, just in our instance. That's what I'm hoping. I mean, that's totally my madness coming through. But
I think you're a little mad on that one.
Yeah, but they can build those lattices. They talk about building giant lattices so that they can like repair larger ships, and multiple crucibles working together to do that. Originally, they were talking about that anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will allow us to build like effectively dry docks temporarily.
I hope so.
Wet docks.
But
Yeah, maybe. Pappy asks, can you be stuck in a compartment, say a big ship that was under attack and the connecting compartments are depressurized and the compartment you're in doesn't have EVA suits? So, for example, the Endeavour, Idris, Carrack, Javelin, etc.
Well, they mentioned them breaking off into pieces, right? So maybe.
Yeah.
Almost certainly. I mean, I have to see that happening quite regularly. I think we'll be able to get that in the actual 2.0 version of the alpha as well.
Mm-hmm.
I get a feeling. But definitely in the full game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how if you are not prepared for it to break into pieces and for some reason you were hiding in a vent or something that wasn't depressurized, then well, we saw that in one of the first Arena Commander 2.0 multi-crew demos, right, where the missile came and hit the side and then it sucked things out the side of the ship, right? So probably we don't work for CIG, so a lot of this stuff is speculation on our behalf.
But it's the spirit of the game. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Just say we know it.
Just say we know it. Subject 119 says, if they make a variant that adds some cargo but keeps the armament, would you use the Cartual as a main ship? I wouldn't, personally.
I would not. I think my main ship, I really want it to be very, very multi-crew. I want to be playing with my friends and viewers and things like that. So I can't imagine that my main wouldn't be anything smaller than a 5-man ship.
I won't have a main ship.
That's a good point. I won't really have a main either. But I think most of my ships that I do want to fly, multi-crew.
We'll mainly be in our Orions. I bet you anything most of our time will be spent mining and chatting.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's my favorite part of streaming is just kind of hanging out and chatting with everybody. So hopefully mining isn't too intense. Yeah,
for me, I don't know. I don't see it being my main ship anytime soon, though. It's not even a ship I own.
No.
So
I think it'd be a cool ship, but
likely.
That's it.
Boats asks, thoughts on the possibility of some striped Pegasus class escort carriers being sold during anniversary or holiday sale. I'm going to go with a 0.0001.
There's always a possibility.
There's always a possibility, but that possibility is super low. I don't think we're going to...
They blew us away last year with the
Idris?
Javelin?
The Javelin.
Not the Idris, the other one, the Javelin, yeah.
Well, they sold both.
None of us expected.
They sold both at that time. So we are likely to get some Idris Ps probably on sale.
Yeah.
Stripped, he meant like the the Javelin.
Stripped.
But I don't think so.
Stripped Pegasus class, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't think we will. But I mean, it's always maybe. They might want to populate the world with them for some reason and say, yeah, there's 10, go crazy.
Yeah.
There's
I still think they're going to surprise us with something, but it's 50% so hard.
Of them.
Yeah. It's so hard to say what it would be because they caught us so off guard last time that they're going to do something silly again this time.
Oh God, yeah, and that's why I love these sales. I'm such a sucker for sales because I get to see loads of extra lore documents or lots of.
We get to speculate so much. Then.
Oh man, yeah, it's so much speculation. And I get to look and work out how to melt and remelt my ships, and then what do I get? What's the most efficient? I'm a sucker for sales.
Mm-hmm. Eric, Ate My Parrot asks, do you think Chris Roberts still has plans for us to play Star Citizen on a LAN network? Or the minimum a dedicated server? I want to be able to put 10 computers together in a room and have one as a dedicated server and be able to play with some friends, even when internet is not available, of course, using legitimate copies. Yes, this is something we know that there was a stretch goal for, actually, that we are able to make our own custom servers that we can use for modding and all of that other stuff, and those won't be held on the main Hive. Those will be things that you'll have to pay for hosting elsewhere.
But we
I
don't
think
100%
offline Star
know.
Citizen.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We don't know. We don't know. We
don't
can't
know.
possibly know that.
We know that we can play Squadron 42 offline. I imagine if you're able to run your own servers, you would be able to run that wherever you wanted to run it from.
But as I said, we haven't got anything solid there.
Yeah.
We would
We're
hope.
just guessing.
We would hope though, because it seems sensible to do that. But it's how their back end
wouldn't it?
Everything works. Yeah.
Heraclitus asks BoredGamer, are you going to make tweaks to your CFG files now with 1.3 out, or will you wait until 2.0?
I've already made tweaks to them, and I'm in the process of making more and finding out more. Straight after this podcast, I will be looking at more crash fixes and 1.3 CFG command stuff. But if you go on to the Redacted website, let me link it. Literally, there is a 1.3 updated file for it.
Nice.
There you go.
Right,
So-
boom, mother truckers.
There you go, right there.
It's the only place you can get
And-
that file. It's on redacted.tv.
And probably other places on the internet that it's been hosted.
Yeah. I tried.
Raven asks the last question here. Do the Constellation Taurus get the same updates as shown in the Andromeda? I own the Taurus, but can't decide if I should sacrifice the cargo for the Andromeda because of more missiles and a belly turret.
You're not sacrificing much cargo. You will be able to strip the Andromeda down somewhat.
And it's impossible to say because they have not worked on the interiors or exteriors of the Taurus, Aquila, or Phoenix. They've only done the Andromeda throughout this whole time, over 6 months. So now that they have all that stuff, I think they'll easily be able to implement them into the other ships. But they did mention today on the special subscriber RTV that they are not going to be putting the resources into the other ships in terms of the Taurus, Aquila, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So you are going to be flying the Andromeda for some time in Arena Commander / Star Citizen Alpha 2.0, whatever we're going to call it now.
Yep.
For a while, because they want to put those assets into getting other ships out, which are other types of gameplay. So mining, repair, all that stuff. They want to get those ships live so we can play different types of gameplay and test that stuff. And kind of the Constellation is testing multi-crew and turrets and things like that, and that's it.
Right. So that ends that with those questions. I guess Twerk17, what are you up to this week?
Not too much. I kind of talked to the stream earlier today and a bit the other day about, we had like a really crazy support month, probably the best month I've ever had in terms of support. Mm-hmm. And I kind of talked to them that in terms of giveaways, we're going to keep them kind of small and here and there until the anniversary sale, because I want to do the most with that money. So if we end up having a lot of $20 Auroras, which they kind of didn't mention that they were going to do. They just said, hey, it's just going to be 20% off physical merch. Mm-hmm. But if they happen to do that stuff, I want to kind of stretch that support out as much as I possibly can. So nothing too crazy. I'm going to try and play as much 1.3 as possible. Definitely more Rebel Galaxy. Give that a shot now that I'm understanding it a bit more. There was another
Descent
game that I was checking out, Descent, and then Infinity Battlescape. I'm trying to pick up some keys and play a bit of that, because there's like a little,
like you can go and land on planets and stuff.
It's like, yeah, seamlessly planet landing. It's pretty beautiful, so I want to check that out. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, no big events, nothing.
YouTube videos, no big events. I'm still working on making those system guide videos. I tried to finish one of them today, and I couldn't. The live stream kind of took our time up today for that.
Yeah, fair
but
enough.
The last video did really well, over 500 views, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
Very nice. And BoredGamer, what are you up to this week?
Well, I'm planning to do some work with our latest Redacted member, Captain Flint.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Who I'm very excited to have with us, because I absolutely love his content and he's quite a good friend. And
he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's another streamer here on twitch.tv. And he just joined Redacted this morning.
So,
Yeah.
And yeah, And we're going to see a lot from Flint. He's going to be very involved with a lot of the stuff we do. So
Yes.
I'm really, really pumped about that. And I'm going to get a couple of videos out with him, hopefully over the next week, assuming he's got time for that.
Yeah, we're really happy to have him.
Oh, yeah. And a mod put Flint stuff in the channel. Brrr. And but so for me as well, just getting as much as I can for those userit.cfgs, 1.3 meta stuff, 1.3 stats, those videos pumping out over the next week, so that people are a lot more aware of fixes, as well as cool things they can do in 1.3, how the new meta and stats work. All that sort of stuff's really important for me. I will do a couple of like theory crafting sessions where we talk about probably the Cuttle Owl.
It's always so fun.
Yeah. And I am going to take a day off next week and not do a video. I know that sounds outlandish.
Are you crazy?
I'm going to sleep for a whole day. I'm going to sleep. Just going to sleep. Screw you guys.
For myself, I am going to be playing probably a lot of Star Citizen, some Descent in there as well. Going to be working on the website stuff this week coming soon, so I imagine a lot of my time streaming will be cut down a little bit because of that. As of big events, I don't really have anything too crazy coming up. On the 15th of November, I will be hosting the Vancouver Twitch meetup again, just like I did last time. I think it was in August or July. It's been a while though since we did that. I think it was July. So that'll be a really good time if you're in Vancouver, definitely, or in the Vancouver area. Do me a favor, shoot me a message on Twitch, twitch.tv/WTFsaurus, and I can give you more information on that. After this, I am going to be having a quick meeting, and then I will be jumping on and doing some stream stuff, possibly some creative stuff. So stick around for that. Thanks to everybody.
Creative.
Ooh, very creative. Thanks to everybody who came by for this episode of Redacted. Very much appreciated. And we will see you next week on Wednesday. Remember to get those posts on the forums